Some Democrats in the incoming House majority have called for impeachment proceedings against President Trump, but many are still approaching the subject with caution. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal is on the House Judiciary Committee and was one of nearly 60 Democrats who voted in favor of an effort to launch impeachment proceedings against the president. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns asked the Congresswoman what she has learned from the Mueller probe, specifically if the president has committed impeachable offenses and what should come next.
Well, certainly if everything in the Mueller filings and indictments is true, then yes, the president has committed crimes, and yes, they would be impeachable offenses. The question is, as you know, impeachment is somewhat of a political process, and that means we need to get Republicans on board as well. And I think that we Democrats, our job is to, first of all, do the oversight to see exactly what is true and to allow the Mueller investigation to finish, but also to continue to do our work, to lay the case out for the American people, and then to demand that Republicans actually stand up for the Constitution.
And Caitlin joins me now from Washington. Caitlin, always great to see you. Interesting to hear your conversation there with the Congresswoman. What is the sense you get from how Democrats are approaching this issue of impeachment?
Well, the sense you get is what you were hearing from Democratic candidates during the midterm election, which is let's see how the Mueller probe plays out and then go from there. Democrats are very reluctant to sign on to move forward with articles of impeachment, especially now since they have the majority, because they have some political and practical concerns. First of all, they need to show that they can govern. There is this concern of overreach and overreaction, and learning some of these lessons that were experienced when they were on the flip side of this during the Clinton impeachment episode. And they also have the practical, which is that Republicans on the Senate side, Republicans increased their majority in the Senate, have shown no appetite for this. In fact, they have been very defensive of the president so far. So a cautious line that many Democrats are taking, even those who disagree vehemently with the president, even those who might like to see him impeached eventually, are taking a very cautious approach.
Well, over the weekend, New York Representative Jerry Nadler, who is poised to lead the House Judiciary Committee in January, discussed the prospect of impeachment as well. Here's what he told CNN.
If it is proven that the president directed or coordinated with Cohen to commit these felonies, if it's proven, and I understand it has not yet been, it's been alleged by the prosecutors, but it has not been proven. If it's proven, are those impeachable offenses?
Well, they would be impeachable offenses. Whether they are important enough to justify an impeachment is a different question.
All right, so break down for us that distinction between something being an impeachable offense and something justifying impeachment proceedings. And why would he make that distinction?
Yeah, it's an important distinction. I mean, essentially, the description for impeachment involves high crimes and misdemeanors, and that's very vague for a lot of people. And Democrats know, especially someone like Nadler, who is very defensive of Clinton during his own impeachment in the 1990s, they've seen kind of the backlash that the party in charge of those proceedings can receive, and they also know kind of what it has the prospect of doing to the country in terms of dividing it. And so certainly that is hovering over all of this. And so Nadler is essentially saying just because these allegations in these court filings that we've seen so far could be impeachable offenses if they are in fact proven true, doesn't mean that we necessarily have to move forward with impeaching the president. So it's very much a political calculation that they're trying to make at this point. Now, Democrats on the relevant committees are saying, look, now we have subpoena power. Now we have more power on the committees that because we have the majority, that we can do more things and show more things to the public and have more hearings and recall or call forward people that we want to talk to. So they're very much focused on the oversight component and waiting to see what else comes out of this.
Well, you asked Congresswoman Jayapal how she sees the situation differently compared to the Clinton impeachment process, and here's what she had to say.
This is so different from what Clinton did. I mean, this is really about high crimes and misdemeanors. It's not about what happened in with an intern in the Oval Office. It is about financial fraud, financial gain of a presidential candidate and then potentially a president at the expense of the American people. It's about Russian interference in our election. I mean, this is deep stuff. This is about our democracy and how well our democracy can hold up.
So, Caitlin, the question is, do other Democrats feel that same way?
Well, certainly other Democrats feel like the issue at hand is far more serious than it was in the Clinton era. And I actually talked to a former Republican congressman who served on the Judiciary Committee during the Clinton impeachment, actually helped draft those articles of impeachment, who told me that, there is a lot of regret about moving forward so quickly at that time, and that there was a backlash from the public, and that, lawmakers, he cautioned, need to be very careful when moving forward with these kinds of things, because they're very serious. Now, this former congressman also told me that this issue at hand is much more serious than Clinton. So that gives you kind of the scope of where people are thinking about this. And there is some division within the caucus, but by and large, on the Democratic side, at a leadership level, they don't want to overreach. They don't want to overplay their hand, particularly since in just 2 years, we're going to have another presidential election. And some Democrats have argued that that might be the avenue with which to make judgments about the president.
Well, it sounds like they're looking at this with a myriad of factors in mind. Caitlin Huey-Burns in Washington. Caitlin, thank you.
Thank you.